Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's November 1st, 2021. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, it's Monday morning, so the news of the day is allowed to be the news of the weekend. And oh my goodness, what a crazy day up there at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. One of those sporting events that you just feel privileged to be able to attend. And so many things go through your mind as you're sitting there watching everything unfold in Pittsburgh on Saturday, from the way Tyler Van Dyke showed up yet again and really stared Kenny Pickett down, and didn't have a school record 513 yards passing quite like Pickett did, but 420 or whatever. I mean, just amazing that he's performing at this level. And the thing is, it's like you're almost saying to yourself, Matt, like, is this really real? Because there was no sign at all that this was coming. I mean, in training camp, he's sharing second team reps with Jake Garcia, and yeah, he always had the arm strength and would make good passes here and there and stuff. And I would watch them do the passing drills, and I would say, and I would post this on the board, that there's no discernible difference really in the throws that we're watching at practice and things like that. But he was so quiet, Matt. And like there was no indication whatsoever that he had the capability at this point of his career to come out of his shell like this. And I mean, and emerge as like such a leader and just all the things we're seeing from him. I think you would agree that this emergence of Tyler Van Dyke is an absolutely amazing story of the season.
I mean, look, yes, okay. Tyler Van Dyke is, these last 2 games, he's played better than any quarterback in 2 games that I've seen since Ken Dorsey, period. With that said, it's mind-boggling to me, like, and people always say we're too negative, whatever. I mean, I'm super happy the team's doing well. Like, you've got to be happy for the players, period. I posted on the message board. There's nothing negative about the team winning the last 2 games against top 20 teams.
Nothing.
I mean, it's remarkable. And let me tell you, we'll get back to this in a sec, talking about Tyler, but like, we watched the Al Golden era. We watched the Randy Shannon era. Both those regimes, is that a word I can use, or is that only for dictators? I don't know, but I'm going to say regimes.
Both
those regimes ended with the team quitting on the coach. And if there was ever a time for a team to quit on a coach, it was this team on Manny Diaz. I mean, I've never seen as much negativity, including Randy Shannon and Al Golden, as I have in the weeks preceding these last 2 games. I've never seen anything like it.
Totally agree.
And I don't know if it's a credit to Manny. I don't know. Fans are going to be like, mad at me for saying it. I don't know if it's a credit to Manny or credit to the players, but there's something different. And Manny's talked about changing the culture of this program. I don't know if he did it or the players did it themselves, okay? But the culture of this program has changed, and you see it every single week this season, regardless if they've won or lost. They have never given up. They were using the wrong personnel, okay? Like I said, for the last 2 weeks, Manny has lucked into not having to have a rotation and using younger guys who are better than older guys who he kept using for some reason.
Yeah.
Totally lucked into this. But regardless, the culture of this team's changed. You love what you see. I think this team, and I said it before, with or without Manny next year, I think this team's going to be very successful. I said it 2 weeks ago, before this team went on this run. I said it. You could go back. I said it. I said this team's young talent will win next year with or without Manny Diaz, and people didn't like to hear it.
Well, we'll see. They're going to need some help in the portal and stuff.
Okay. Well, let me go back to Tyler Van Dyke.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to want to talk about too, because everybody just has to slow down.
So I wanted to say some positive things, because this is what's mind-boggling to me. How Rhett Lashlee didn't understand what he had in Tyler Van Dyke. Like, he's with this kid every single day for 2 years.
I've spoken to a lot of people, Matt. He did not show this.
I don't care. Anybody who's been a coach, you know what you have. You just do.
And he's a young kid.
Some kids are better in games than they are in practice.
He was behind De'Ara King. There was no hope he was going to play this year. He wasn't even thinking along those lines.
When De'Ara King went down, from what I've been told privately, Lashley was probably going to wind up going with Jake Garcia over Tyler Van Dyke. That's what I heard privately. Okay. In the bigger picture after the Central Connecticut game, but then Jake Garcia wasn't an option. Like, I just don't understand.
Well, I think they would have kept platooning him. They would have kept.
How is Tyler Van Dyke not the guy in Central Connecticut State that plays every single rep to get him ready for the rest of the year?
Because, Matt, I'm telling you, I believe what I'm hearing. He did not show this. He did not show that he was ready to do this.
How's it
very possible? It's like
he played next. He played.
It wasn't his time. It was the De'Ara King show. The team was built on De'Ara King's back.
All spring long, there was no De'Ara King. You got every opportunity to see what this kid can do. Every single practice, every single minute they saw it.
I know, and he didn't show this. He showed the arm. He showed the occasional thing, but he did not show the leadership ability. Okay. He did not. He did not show the ability to come out of his shell.
You're missing the point. The stupid practices they run don't let him show what he showed in every game. They don't do ones versus ones. They don't do real game.
Well, action. That's a whole nother.
But that's what I'm trying to say. They didn't realize what they have, and it's at every position. It's embarrassing that they didn't know what they had at quarterback. It's embarrassing they didn't know Cam Kinchins is their best safety. Bubba Bolden doesn't make that Philly special play. A true freshman made that play on his own with no preparation. The coaches didn't say, "Oh, let's prepare for this. They're going to run it." You know, Bubba Bolden does not make that play. You'll never convince me Bubba Bolden makes that play. They're still playing these linebackers that don't belong in the game. Ryan Rigoni made a bigger play than BJ Jennings would have made twice in that game. Like, I can't comprehend the personnel usage they have when they have such better options and the way they just rotate these guys for no reason. Like, you know, I just don't get it. And I will tell you another thing while I'm thinking of this.
That's why people keep setting records against the defense.
Well, Pitt did Miami a huge favor. Yeah, Kenny Pickett was great, other than 2 interceptions. But when Pitt ran the ball, man, they were picking up chunk yardage, and that's how they could have kept Miami's offense off the field and really run that clock down and got more points. And
55 passes is a lot of passes.
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, to me, Mark Whipple called an awful game. And I know the guys threw for 530 yards and they scored 1 million points, whatever. I think he cost them the game by not running the ball more, because whenever he ran it, it was very successful. And if you run it more, guess what? Those safeties and linebackers aren't back there. Well, the safety and cornerback made a good play on that one play, but like, it's a different game. The corners are pressing up more. The linebackers and the safeties are pressing up in the box more. They weren't even playing the run the whole game. And Mark Whipple never said, "Hey, respect the run." Not once. And it cost them on those 2 interceptions to me, you know, where the safeties were just hanging back there. They knew they were passing every single play. And like, you know, I just think that it would have been a different outcome. So, you know, as great as Tyler Van Dyke was, and as great as Miami's offense was, and as bad as Miami's defense was, I still think if Whipple had really committed to the run more, I think they would have put up 200 rushing yards in the game. They would have 700 or 800 total yards. I don't think they would have obliterated Miami. So thank God Whipple didn't do that.
Let me touch on some of this.
Can I go to sleep? Can I go to sleep? I need my morning nap. I'm done. I got nothing else to say.
You know, you were talking about the effort and everything, and it was that exact point was apparent to me sitting at North Carolina a few weeks back. And I wrote in my column that day that now was not the time to have a verdict on Manny Diaz. You know, things were terrible. They were losing. But the reason I wrote that was I saw the effort that the kids were giving. And whether they're playing for themselves or Manny or whatever they're doing, they were playing with great effort. And
was this after the NC State game or before?
After North Carolina. I wrote this column.
We have a totally different opinion. I said if they were going to get rid of him, that was the only time, and I was right. As it
I know, but I lined up opposite of you on that, and I said they shouldn't get rid of Manny then because the team was engaged. They were not quitting.
Right.
They weren't quitting.
Is it because of Manny or is it because of the players?
I don't think it matters. I don't know, but I don't think it matters. And I know I'm making people angry by saying that, but like, listen, like you said, that these teams have quit on coaches in the past, and I'm watching these guys play their butts off up at North Carolina, and it didn't work out, whatever. But that's why I said, you know, now is not the time to pass a verdict on Manny. And look at what's happened since then. You know, now at the same time, the one thing I want to caution everybody is don't get all wrapped up in the week-to-week emotion swings either. Like, you know, North Carolina, NC State, Pittsburgh, these are all average teams in college football, and so is Miami, and they're all playing each other. And one week the ball's going to boink off the left upright, and Miami's going to lose. The next week, Jalen Knighton's going to get out of the end zone by an inch, and that play's not going to be a safety. And let me tell you something: if that had been a safety, and then they go through that,
that was a safety. If they had any,
can you imagine if they got the 2 points and had to then kick it back to Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, at any angle on that play, Miami loses the game. 100%.
Pitt probably wins the game.
Yeah.
So my point is this: these games are very tight. They're swinging by one circumstance or one play here or there. And I'm not sure we're done with that, is my point. I think that, Georgia Tech is a mystery to me. They beat the crap out of North Carolina earlier in the year. They've been playing very poor football lately. I don't know what's up with that.
North Carolina lost to FSU last year. North Carolina's a weird team. They don't prepare for some games.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't explain.
Well, listen, Georgia Tech's terrible. They're going to
so they should beat Georgia Tech handily next week. Okay. Yes. I think Virginia Tech the following week could come in here and give Miami a game. I don't think we're out of Dodge in Tallahassee.
No,
in a couple weeks.
100% toughest game.
Florida State's been playing a little bit better. They had a bad thing happen at the end of the game, but they were right there with Clemson the entire game the other day. They've been playing a little bit better. We'll see. I'm not sold on that quarterback, but, we'll see what happens up there in Tallahassee. But everyone that's just assuming that Miami's walking through these next 4 games, I caution you, don't make those assumptions. That's number one. Number two, I don't know how you can be consumed about the future right now because there's just so much up in the air. I mean, is Blake James going to stay the athletic director? What's going to happen with Manny? What's going to go on with recruiting? What's going to go on with the transfer portal? Does Tyler Van Dyke's emergence change the entire outlook on 2022? I think it does, no matter who the head coach is. There's just so much going on right now that I still don't think that you can really make a firm decision on what to do here. And I think that's the situation that the Board of Trustees, the administration, and Blake James are in right now.
Listen, if they win these last 4 games, which they should,
he's going to be back.
If they play the way they are, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to have Manny Diaz come back. There's no doubt in my mind.
No doubt.
Is it the right decision? I personally think they need to go in a different direction long term. But if you want to wait another year and see what happens, they have an easy schedule next year. I think no matter, like I said, whoever the coach is, I think they'll be very successful next year. Manny is going to succeed or not succeed, unfortunately, in the transfer portal. I just don't see him and this staff going head to head for top recruits across the country. Even in Miami, kids are leaving. And he's had success in the transfer portal, but who's going to be in that portal that wants to come here that can help Miami at so many different positions, especially on defense, to make up for all these kids are going to lose next year, now it is mostly a young team, which is great, but you do need to fill in some pieces. I think you'll agree with me now. They don't need to transfer quarterback. Will you stipulate to that at least now?
We'll see.
Come on. You're kidding.
What if Jake Garcia decides he's leaving? You don't know what he's going to do.
But what transfer quarterback's going to come in here as a backup? Who wants to come here with any quality that says, okay, I'll be Tyler Van Dyke's backup? What
if Tyler Van Dyke goes out against Georgia Tech and throws 3 interceptions or whatever? It's too small of a sample size, Matt. This is what I'm talking about. Everybody gets all hung up week to week. I mean, they're sitting around. Everyone's sitting around. So I had somebody in the press box at Pittsburgh on Saturday ask me, do I think that Tyler Van Dyke is as good as Kenny Pickett? Okay, Kenny Pickett, until he lost to Miami the other day, was in the Heisman race and was being talked about it as a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. And after 2 games, somebody's saying to me, do I think Tyler Van Dyke is as good as Kenny Pickett? Are you kidding me?
Have a Miami quarterback make the throws under pressure that he made this last 2 games?
No, but I also understand these are not great defenses he's doing it against.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. It does matter. Because if this program's ever going anywhere, when you get into the games against the better teams, you got to be competitive. It does matter. De'Ara King was great last year, but he's never been great against better competition. He was always great against average competition, like the NC State game up there last year, another average ACC team. Whenever the difficulty went up, Matt, De'Ara King was not as good. We haven't seen Tyler Van Dyke in a high degree of difficulty yet. We haven't.
Listen, you better turn my volume off because you're not going to like what I say, Gary. So, to me, whether you're playing Clemson or you're playing Central Connecticut State, if you have a guy in your face, 2 or 3 guys in your face, and you have a small tight window to throw, basically 15 yards downfield on an out route on the sideline,
and you make a perfect throw.
You put it in that window. I don't care who's wearing what color.
That I totally agree.
After time,
and hey, Tyler might go on to win the Heisman Trophy in 2 years. Who the hell knows? I'm just saying that as we sit here today, the sample size is very small, and I don't think that you just say, "Oh, geez, the program's set at quarterback for the next 2-3 years," because Tyler Van Dyke just beat Pitt and NC State.
Then the 2 previous games, he looked great the last 2 halves. I mean, listen,
he's been very good.
He's shown me enough that I think he's the real deal. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. You obviously disagree.
I don't disagree at all. But what I'm
sample size.
I'm saying it's way too small of a sample size to start making all kinds of crazy declarations. Oh, he's the future of the program. Oh, he's as good as Kenny Pickett. Oh, he's going to win the Heisman. He's as good as Vinny Testaverde. I'm hearing all this stuff, and I'm like, whoa, like we just have a very small sample size here. This is a kid that a month ago was splitting reps in practice with Jake Garcia to be the second-team quarterback.
Which I blame Rhett Lashley for. I think Tyler Van Dyke is the future of the program. I've seen enough. I'm so sick of bad quarterback play. I couldn't believe my eyes the last 2 games. It was like a gift from heaven.
I agree.
And now you're trying to take it away.
I am not trying to take it away. I am just saying, whoa! I'm like putting up a yellow. It's a yellow light. Yes, you can run through the light if you would like, but yeah, I'm putting up a yellow. I am willing to be a believer. I'm a believer. I love what I've seen. No, I'm watching what he's doing. I'm like, oh my god! Like a couple of those plays the other day.
You would be at the Last Supper and you'd send back the broccoli because it wasn't cooked enough. Okay, you're not a believer.
I actually did that kinda at a restaurant in Pittsburgh Airport yesterday. They brought me a chicken sandwich with bacon that was barely cooked, and I made them go cook I made them cook the bacon. I mean, I'm like, I can't eat this. Like, you got to cook it. So I made him go throw it in the microwave.
Ordering airport food is just a bad idea.
I had no choice. I was hungry. I was in Pittsburgh Airport, and I had to eat. So, but listen, I'm all about Tyler Van Dyke. I love what I'm seeing. I also understand that he hasn't really been tested against a quality defense yet. And until that happens on multiple occasions, I can't say he's arrived. I can't say, oh, let's forget that Jake Garcia is in the program, because like you just said, Matt, a few weeks ago, we would have, if somebody had asked us a few weeks ago, what quarterback are they going to pick when De'Ara King's out of the picture, we would have said, we think Jake Garcia.
Correct. But so you're saying that we're not going to know if Tyler Van Dyke's the real deal for 2 years? Because guess what? There's no more
2 years
the rest of this year, and there's
let
no
him go through spring practice and compete with Jake. I mean, he's got to beat out Jake first. He hasn't beat out Jake yet.
He's got to beat a good defense. There's no good defenses for a year and a half on the schedule.
No, you're going to have some good defenses next year.
Texas A&M. I mean, I don't know how good.
Yeah, I mean that'll be an SEC. That'll be an SEC defense. I mean, that'll be a whole different deal at the line of scrimmage than Pitt was yesterday. I'll tell you that. I mean, Pitt was playing defensive linemen yesterday, Matt, that weighed 270 pounds.
Yeah,
soaking wet.
People were freaked out about the Pitt defense before the game. I told everybody. I said, this is not a good defense.
They hadn't played anybody, clearly.
They hadn't played anybody, and they give up 44 points to Eastern Michigan or Western Michigan, somewhere in Michigan.
I was stunned. I hadn't really watched them that closely. I was stunned when I saw how small.
I was trying to tell people this is great offense, bad defense.
They were playing. Their front seven was so small they looked like a high school team. Seriously, I mean, it was. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I thought
they lost one of their better defensive linemen. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you.
I mean, yeah. So like, I understand, but that's not Alabama's defensive line. Let me put it that way, Matt. And obviously, Miami doesn't have to play Alabama's defensive line every day, but if Miami is going to get back to being a championship contending program, they are going to have to be able to play with those kind of teams. Or else we're going to keep going on like this forever. We're going to be in tight ACC games week to week. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And it's been like this for years and years and years now. That's where we are right now, which brings me to the next thing that we can argue about. I think that the University of Miami has to decide what they want to be in the next day of a month here before they really are going to be doing a true evaluation of the program and Manny Diaz and all this. They have to decide what they're going to be, and then they're going to have to. Then the next decision is going to be: can Manny deliver on what we want to be? Do we want to be a team that does what it's doing now and hang around in the Coastal and win some games, lose some games, and try to win the Coastal with 2 losses or 3 losses? They've been doing this for 10 years, Matt, even more. So they can keep going on like this. Is that what they want to be? Okay, Board of Trustees, declare yourself. Julio Frank, Rudy Fernandez, declare yourself. We just want to be a run-of-the-mill ACC team and play at this level. Okay, no problem. Do you want to contend for national titles again at Miami? If you want to contend for national titles again at Miami, then you got to make a decision sooner than later. Can Manny Diaz run that level of a program? And if he can't, there's no shame in that. Like, most guys in this business can't, okay? There's only a handful that are doing it right now. But to me, that is before the Board of Trustees can make a decision on athletic directors, football coaches, budgets, everything else. They have to decide, what is our mission statement? What do we want to be?
All right. So listen, to me, it's simple. Like, there's if you're only worried about the football team and you want to just win next year, I think you can keep it the way it is. You don't have to blow everything up. I think they'll be very, very good next year. Probably could win the ACC Coastal and, maybe even make a playoff. I mean, their schedule is.
We said that this year.
Easiest. No, but this next year's the easy. No, because this year they're playing Alabama. We knew they were going to lose to Alabama.
Yeah, but we thought they could win the Coastal this year, and they might still, but
But yeah, okay. So, but what I'm saying is, next year the entire schedule is ridiculously easy. So yeah, they can keep the status quo, but it
depends how good Clemson is. You got to play Clemson next year.
That's true. But my philosophy is also big picture, and like big picture, you talk about with Tyler Van Dyke, we don't have a big enough window to see. I mean, we have a big enough window on Manny Diaz and how he coaches and how his staff coaches to pretty much say, like, I don't think they're going to win a national championship with this guy and his assistants. I personally don't believe that.
They lost 6 straight Power 5 games.
It's great that they.
That's what I'm saying. Like, all right, so now they won 2.
Okay, but let me finish. That's not even my point. They beat 2 top 25 teams. Throw it out the window because we're talking big picture, not a couple of games or even not the 6 straight losses to Power 5.
Exactly.
What I'm talking about that's most important right now is to find a kick-ass athletic director who's done this before and hasn't been hired from within the program and elevated and just been cushy in his job forever, that can really evaluate and say, geez, here's the deficiencies, and sort of talk to people who are actually willing to talk to you. Because Blake James has always had Manny Diaz's back until probably 2 weeks ago. So people are going to go to Blake James over the last year or two and say, hey, there's a problem in football, Blake. And like, I know you hired the guy and he, sort of you're linked to him. And if he goes, you go probably. But like, here's the problem. It's like, no one's going to say that to Blake. But you bring in a kick-ass athletic director who will take names and remember those names and do something about it. And he will get to the bottom. He'll find out inside the athletic department exactly what's gone wrong, exactly what has to be fixed. And he'll probably find out, we probably need a different head coach to be really a national championship team over the next 5 to 10 years. And he'll lay out a plan to do that. With Blake James, I love the guy as a person. I love Manny Diaz as a person. But they're just like, just going along. Like, you always mention the country club. Like, it's not like they're going to just rip up the greens and build a whole new golf course.
No, it's a total country club.
They already are getting paid for the golf course. They already have the golf pros and all the equipment they're selling. Yep. They don't need to rip everything up and do it all over again. They're comfortable. You got to get uncomfortable to win national championships when you've been where Miami's been for the last 20 years. You have to get uncomfortable. They're just way too comfortable. And it's just almost like now they just take a sigh of relief and they're comfortable again. Oh, we almost had to, really blow everything up because they were going to force us to. They need an athletic director who's going to force change. And maybe that guy comes in and says, you know what? Manny doesn't need to go. Maybe he finds out, hey, that last class, and now look what Manny's plan is. And, if we hire maybe a couple of assistants that are, a defensive coordinator who's kick-ass, whatever the answer is, I don't know it. I know, Gary, maybe you think you know it, but like nobody knows it. But I think an athletic director who's done it before and knows what it should look like can come in and do that. And I think that should be the first step, not fire Manny Diaz and then worry about the athletic director afterwards. That's like backwards. You got to get rid of the athletic director and let him decide. Not the board of trustees, some fans and some boosters who have money. who think, hey, we just know it's not going right, so let's just replace the head coach and try to get Mario Cristobal. Like, that may not work. So bring in somebody who's done it, knows how to do it, knows what an athletic program that wins championships should look like. Get him first, and then let him decide the route to take. That's what I would do. But
I can't believe we agree. I mean, we're
that all you talk about is replacing Manny, but like you got to replace the AD, not Manny. Then let him decide. That's my whole take. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, yes, I have a conviction that Mario's the right guy for this program, but I agree that this isn't a one-man show. I mean, it's more than just Mario Cristobal. I mean, and quite frankly, Mario Cristobal's got a very good team coming back at Oregon next year. They might make the playoff this year if they keep winning. And
by the way,
I think
James doing his interview with us because I want that interview to see. Oh, Manny's our guy now. Yeah, look.
I have extended. Blake has been extended on 2 occasions now. Yeah. The last 2 weeks I have extended him an invitation to come to CaneSport.
Yeah, why isn't he doing
and have an open forum with the fans.
I have a ridiculous interview, and now he's just going to be. I guarantee he won't do any more interviews until like God knows when. Like, what's he going to do?
I want him to have an open forum with the fans.
Yeah, but what can he even say? Like, before I said that, I wasn't having Manny's back, but now I have Manny's back after 2 games. Like, what's he going to say? Like, he put himself in such a corner. I said it at the time, like, basically forced his own hand with Manny if Manny was going to win games, which has now happened. I mean, it's unbelievable what Blake James did.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a whole nother subject. All right, so anyway, the point of this show is to talk about the news of the day at CaneSport.com. So let me get to that. But we'll obviously be continuing to talk about all this big picture stuff. It's not going away.
And by the way, I want to first address just real quick. These people on our message board, the Gary Ferman War Room, Invisible Matt Shodell War Room, they seem to think that we're haters and we want Miami to lose. And I just want to tell you guys, there's nothing further from the truth.
That couldn't be further from the truth.
But even just from a business perspective, why would we ever want Miami to lose? Like, that's good for
business. But when a team loses 6 straight games to Power 5 opponents and isn't even competitive against Alabama and almost gets beat by Appalachian State, I mean, of course we're going to come across as negative.
I mean, we're objective reporters, of course, but we cover Miami. We like the players. We actually do like the coaches, believe it or not. We even like Blake James. Like,
love the players. Well, yeah.
We want these guys to have success. Like,
no
it's
doubt.
mind-boggling to me when people call us haters. What we do is we point out what we see that's wrong, so you guys can.
I don't think too many people don't say that. I mean, because we're obviously not. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean,
people posted that, so I just want to address it. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right. Today on the website, we've got a really good story inside the Tyler Van Dyke success story. And Matt, you spoke to Drew Gramier, the head coach at Suffield Connecticut Academy, who essentially raised Tyler Van Dyke as a quarterback and sent him to Miami. And he's not the least bit surprised by the success that Tyler's having now. He felt that Tyler would get progressively better, and thinks that this is only the beginning. He thinks that Tyler has a whole lot of upside ahead of him.
Yeah, and and he's still in touch with Tyler every week. Tyler's sister's actually a senior still at the school, so the family's still very involved with the school. And yeah, I mean, Drew saw this coming. This is not a surprise to him at all. He did say, which was interesting to me, like he said in Tyler's junior year of high school, he was really good, but he made a huge jump his senior year. And like, maybe, if you're going to come to last year's defense, like, how do you not know that he had this guy in his back pocket? Like, maybe somehow Tyler just made this jump sort of like between spring practice and the beginning of the season.
100% has. Not spring practice, since September. Maybe. I mean, I've spoken to a bunch of people about this in the program and we're at practices and stuff. And like, this has come out of no place. Okay.
Well, again, they didn't test him enough in practices to really see it and put him in these game type situations. It's such a joke the way they run these practices. It's super annoying. But yeah, maybe that's a defense, because this is what Drew said. Drew Gramier, the coach, this is what he said. He did say, like, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, the senior year, he was amazing. Like, that summer, he just got so much better. It all clicked. Now, he did also say, and this isn't in the story, but he said they run a super simple offense there. And like he said, Tyler was constantly like wanting to learn more but there wasn't that much more for him to learn at that level because, like, that's just the offense they ran. It's a high school offense, you know? So once Tyler got into the system at Miami, he was, like, so excited to really get in the classroom. Like, he's a guy who wants to learn. And for those of you that haven't, like, sort of watched Tyler's interviews or seen his demeanor, like, it's super weird, but also great. Like, he's as excited / unexcited about a touchdown as an interception. Like, it's just walk off the field, stone face, talk to the coach, back on. It's like a total business. It's, you know, it's like, it's the most amazing thing. Like, I've never seen a quarterback like this where nothing faces him.
And he's competing against a kid in Jake Garcia who's like Mr. Personality, who's like bubbly all the time and high-fiving people.
Yeah,
I mean, their personalities couldn't be more different. And, you know, now all of a sudden this kid who's the quiet kid who doesn't really show this leadership side of himself because he had no reason to. He wasn't going to play this year. Is suddenly saying he's going to put 70 points on NC State.
He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it.
I mean, it's been like culture shock to these to people in the program, and like, of course, I mean, it has reinvigorated everybody. They're seeing a lot of hope with Tyler Van Dyke that maybe they weren't feeling a few weeks ago. I think there's a sense that, hey, next year maybe cannot be so bad. Like, you know, that we could be decent if we can go get some pieces in the transfer portal and you know, fill some holes and spots. You know, obviously they got to go find some linebackers. They probably need some secondary people. Tyreek Stevenson's going to be out of there the way he's playing. And can you imagine what that secondary looks like without him right now? Oh my God.
Marcus Clark's not bad. I'm
but
excited about him.
But they're like, they're really struggling. I mean, you know, the
good thing is the transfer portal has guys who want to go somewhere and start, not guys who want to go somewhere and battle to start or go somewhere and battle, you know, or be a backup. So when Miami is, you know, looking, if they do run the table at the end of the year and they look really good, I think they'll have guys knocking down the door in that transfer portal. Like, hey, I have to battle at Auburn or wherever the hell they are. Like, I can start at Miami, be in Miami, hang out in Miami, be part of this, you know, awesome place, and like maybe they'll come here. Like, this is Manny's.
It's worked in the past.
Yeah, and this would be Manny's saving grace because this is the new recruiting. You don't need to recruit high school kids anymore to be a great college team anymore. It's like bizarre. Like, let someone else develop the kids for 2 or 3 years, which is perfect the way Miami practices. Let them practice at Georgia for 2 or 3 years like Tyreek did, and then grab them and say, okay, they coached you up, come over here and start for us. Like, perfect. Like, that's the formula for success. I love it.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see a lot of it. I'm glad you love it because I think we're going to see a lot of transfer portal.
Yeah. I think we're going to get double digits in the transfer portal.
I agree. We're going to see a lot of transfer portal coming up here this offseason.
Mark my words.
Yeah. Especially, and not just Miami. I mean, people are watching Michigan State and what's going on there. They signed 15 transfers, and now all of a sudden they're a top 10 team. They won, I think, 4 games last year?
It's the new recruiting. There's no more high school kids you need.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, no doubt about it. All right, so we've got the Tyler Van Dyke success story, talking to his high school coach. That's really good. Urge everybody to take a look at that. We've also got our weekly fifth quarter feature where I engage in question and answers with the fans through the day, Sunday into Monday, and lots of really good stuff in there. Make sure you check that out if you haven't been following it the last day. If you didn't see all our game coverage from the weekend, that's all still on the website. You can look at that. All right, and then we also have a few recruiting updates on the website this morning coming off the weekend. One of them is on Shamar Stewart, the defensive end from Miami Pace. Everybody wants him. He's down to Georgia, Texas A&M, Ohio State, and Miami. I think Miami would be number 4 there. Although I do have a source that tells me that if by chance that Mario Cristobal were to end up as the head coach of Miami, that Miami would have a chance to move up with Shamar Stewart. But right now it looks like he's going to one of those other 3 schools, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas A&M. But we do give you an update, speaking to some people close to him, and you can check that out on the site today. Another update where Miami yet again is re-engaged with Dante Anderson and Daniel Lyons, the 2 defensive linemen from Homestead High down in South Dade. Matt, I don't know, man. Like, this has been a roller coaster with these 2 guys. I personally would rather see them go in the transfer portal for 2 defensive linemen than just take these guys by default that haven't been totally sold on. Those guys haven't been totally sold on them. I don't like the idea of just taking kids. And I'm not gonna call out names right now, but there were a couple in the last year or so that just clearly don't belong at Miami and are no place on the depth chart and stuff, and probably never will be. And I hate those kind of signees, especially in today's football. You're so much better off just getting into the portal than just taking guys that can't play. I'm not saying Daniel Lyons and Anderson can't play. I'm just saying that Miami has not been all in on them from the start in recruiting, and they haven't been all in Miami. So just because Florida State, say, is struggling a little bit and things are looking a little rosier in Miami, now all of a sudden you're going to have a love affair again. I don't like that type of recruitment so much. I personally, wouldn't be bothered if they don't end up signing those 2, but we'll see how it goes. And then we also have an update on OL target Tyler Williams from Georgia. So you've got that to sink your teeth in on the website today as well. And then we'll be speaking to Manny Diaz at midday today. We'll be speaking to Red Lashley at midday today. We'll be speaking to Jess Simpson at midday today. So we'll have all those stories coming your way early afternoon on the website as well. So that's going to do it for this Monday morning on Good Morning CaneSport. Hope everybody gets off to a great week. Spend some time on the website, absorb all the content, enjoy the message boards, and we will see you tomorrow morning, everybody. Have a great day.